When it comes to PC gaming, having cool looking stuff is half of the fun of having a PC gaming setup, and Razer definitely has you covered there. What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're doing something a little bit different. Just a quick aesthetics overview of the Razer Phantom Collection, a new line of translucent green PC gaming tech that's bringing back that old school retro look that was on so many controllers and consoles back in the 90s and 2000s. Razer sent the entire line my way to check out, and I've got to say, it does look very good. But if you've never seen tech with this kind of look, the whole idea is that you can get a little glimpse at what's powering the whole experience on the inside. Now, some tech gives you a clearer look than others, and in Razer's case, they definitely keep you guessing because you can see outlines of plugs and mechanisms on the inside, but it still kind of keeps that foggy green look, so there's a consistent aesthetic across the desktop too. So from top to bottom, you've got the Black Widow V4 75% keyboard, the Basilisk V3 Pro mouse, the Firefly V2 Pro mouse mat, and the Barracuda X Chroma headset, and all of these actually have some pretty cool perks that make them stand out for more than just the look. Now, starting off with the keyboard, it's compact but not too compact. It's the same basic layout as a 65% keyboard, but with the row of F keys built into the top, along with a trifecta of the volume wheel, a play and pause button, and the mute button baked right into the interface. Now, the switches are Razer's mechanical switches, which I think have a solid feel for gaming, but with these still being mechanical switches, there is a more distinct feel when you bottom them out. You can really feel when they trigger. I think that over time, I've become more fond of the linear hypermagnetic switches you're starting to see on more and more gaming keyboards that gives you more control over stuff like actuation points and opens up customization like dual actuation, so keys can be more than just one thing. But Razer has been packing in these mechanical switches for years, and clearly there's a reason. A good chunk of the market still wants that old school mechanical feel. So here's a little sound test so you know what you're rocking with here. Now, it's got PBT keycaps that feel pretty standard, but this is where the look really shines. Literally, this is potentially one of the brightest keyboards that I've ever used. The key legends, the letter markings on each key, are a muted black that don't pop off the key like a white would, meaning that you can easily see what key is what at a glance when it's lit up and shining through the night. But one of the best features of this keyboard that I've found is actually the wrist rest, and this is potentially one of the most comfortable wrist rest I've ever used on a keyboard. It's literally like a pillow with tons of padding, and what Razer says is heat transferring fabric with a cooling gel pad inside. Now, the Basilisk V3 Pro is my favorite piece of gear from this lineup because back when I moved out and started my first job out of college, I bought myself a Razer Basilisk X Hyperspeed and used it as my main mouse for years because it worked great and felt great. And they've kept basically the exact same design with the Basilisk V3 Pro, but with better hardware under the hood. You've got DPI sensitivity up to 35,000, which is well beyond what I would ever need and what most people would ever need, plus some features like smart tracking that helps the sensor adjust to what kind of tabletop or mat you're using, plus motion sync to match your PC's polling rate. But the real reason I love this mouse is because of how many buttons Razer has baked in here without making this mouse look like it packs in a ton of extra buttons, because on the left you've got a button towards the front, one towards the back, and then one kind of on the side, but then on top, that's where the magic really happens. The scroll wheel is what really makes this thing stand out, because on the top of the mouse you've got a DPI button towards the back, a mouse wheel lock button towards the front that either locks the wheel in place to function normally or unlocks it to spin freely if you're scrolling down a huge menu, and then the scroll wheel itself has that middle click functionality, but then there are extra commands if you bump it to the left or to the right, and this is fantastic for something like a first-person shooter where you could set it to push to the right to be reload or to the left to be melee or equipped. But for me, macros on gaming mice are all about making them feel as natural as possible, and the Basilisk V3 Pro does that incredibly well. Very good stuff here. Now, paired with that is the Firefly V2 Pro mouse mat, and the reason this thing exists is purely the aesthetic. This is actually my first non-fabric mouse mat or mouse pad, but it's also going the extra mile with 15-zone RGB lighting that you can customize in Razer Synapse. They say it's got a low-friction micro-textured surface that I call plastic, but it also feels fine to use, plus it's got an anti-slip base so it stays in place when you're slinging that mouse around in-game. Make no mistake, this thing is purely for the looks. It's a luxury edition if you're going for that full RGB setup that makes your entire room glow, but it also does have the nice perk of a USB-A port built into the top next to the standard USB-C power connector. That lets you throw your mouse dongle on and have a great connection without running an extra cable into your PC and taking up another port on the back. And finally, we have the Barracuda X Chroma, Razer's kind of entry-level gaming headset with 6 perfect zone RGB lighting built right into the ear cups, and it's a lightweight headset at 285 grams that's got a pretty standard loadout. You've got a headband cushion, some swivel on the ear cups so you can find the right fit for you, and memory foam ear cushions that do a great job of blocking out external noise. I mean, even when I'm talking, I can barely hear myself, so that's pretty good. Now, power-wise, these things are rocking 40mm drivers with full equalizer customization in the Razer mobile app or in Razer Synapse, so you can tweak the audio to get it exactly the way you want it. Of course, there are some presets built in to give you a starting point for games, movies, music, stuff like that, but these are also totally wireless and have 70-hour battery life, and a 15-minute charge gives you 6 hours of battery life, which is a very nice touch. That's something I'm really liking on these entry-level headsets, where you can throw it on a charge and 15 minutes of battery life gives you hours and hours of gameplay. You go grab a drink or grab something to eat and you're good to go.
And here's a quick test of the microphone so you know what you're going to be getting with that. It's a detachable Razer hyperclear cardioid mic that they say has improved bass and high frequency pickup to make the voice sound warmer and more natural. You can pop that off if you're hitting the road and taking this with you to do some gaming on the go too, so that's a nice touch.
Now, the Barracuda X Chroma also has dual wireless, so you can connect wirelessly to a PC or a PlayStation with the dongle and stay connected to a Bluetooth device and toggle between them. But to be clear, this is not multi-source audio mixing where you can listen to your phone and your PC at the same time, but it's nice if you're bouncing back and forth between something like a phone or a Steam Deck and your main PC. But taking it back to the top, the lighting is really what this lineup is all about. From the keyboard and the headset to the mouse and the mouse mat, Razer's Phantom collection is all about the look, and you can go with the standard full spectrum RGB or head into Razer Synapse and pick from presets and dial in on the color that works for you and your aesthetic. For me, the green translucent look of the hardware calls for some green lighting, which you can make reactive, static, a wave, breathing, anything like that, and then sync across everything so it's all got a nice matching look, and that works across the board. Razer has been one of the biggest names in the PC gaming space for nearly 20 years, and there's a good reason. They put out some solid gear and deliver on an iconic gaming aesthetic. Razer is never subtle when it comes to the looks, and if you're looking for something that delivers a hit of nostalgia with that iconic Razer pop, then the Phantom Chroma is right on the money. Of course, if you're new here, you like what you see and what you hear, hit that subscribe button for videos like this every week and gaming news shorts throughout the week to keep you in the loop, and I'll catch you on the next one.